The date is Friday, January 14th, and you're listening to Entertain This, a thought-provoking podcast encapsulating all things entertainment. On this episode, we're discussing yet another Netflix original movie entitled Don't Look Up. It's a star-studded film where the audience is taken on an all-too-real ride through current events and impending catastrophes, shown in a slightly comedic light. So enjoy.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the only show on the internet encapsulating all things entertainment. It's Entertain This.
Entertain This. Is he okay?
No.
Okay. Just making sure.
Oh gosh. That threw off all the momentum I had built up.
It's like, what?
Mission accomplished. All right.
Oh no. Cold open, cold open, cold open, cold open, cold open, cold open.
Concussion from that. I hope
Hey, have you guys? What's it called? Hey, have you guys heard about?
Just go back to what we were talking about before. I'm sure it's fine.
No. The pre-show ramble is a special time.
Yeah.
Where the boys get to talk about whatever they want before they go on public air and record themselves. Hey, have you guys heard about in the news that new Nicolas Cage movie is coming out?
No.
It's called The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, I believe, and it is.
Shit.
Nicolas Cage plays Nicolas Cage. It's a story of Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, that's
You guys
right.
believe
There
that?
was a trailer for that at No Way Home.
Yeah, we did see No Way Home, and I will talk about that in great detail in a couple of years when the snipers are off my back.
The spoiler snipers. All I wanted to say was that Spider-Man.
Did you guys get the inside meta joke that my cold open was the fact that I didn't have a cold open ready, and that was the whole cold open was me pretending I didn't have a cold open?
I was very satisfied.
Anyway, I'm Alex.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Nick.
And usually I do that before the cold open, but that wouldn't have played right. So let's get right into the show. Okay, let's go. I did that TikTok sound before we started the show, and it got no response from my co-hosts, and I think it's because neither of them are familiar with it. But
Nope.
I think some of you out there just had a little churtle, a little moment, a little exhale from the nose.
My brain has been like completely enveloped by piggy dipping.
Yes, piggy dippins.
Piggy dipping in the piggy pond. That's
Put
like
your
my
fat
brain
little toes
is
in
just
the
like-
water. Little thoughts, toes in the water.
Belchum. That's like my brain is just like on repeat for that over and over and over again.
I love that. That's incredible.
TikTok memes, I bet they're fun.
You know, TikTok memes are fun. And I told you, Nick, you need to get on TikTok because there are famous train people on there who do nothing but follow around trains and make TikToks about them. And they have like these funny cameras to make their faces look weird. Anyway, our rotation changed up. Michael went last week, and this week the torch is passed so gently to me in our rotation. And next week it will be Nick. And I repeat this over and over at the beginning of each year, just so that you guys don't have emotional whiplash about whose episode is what. We do a little clock rotation every year.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm Demido boy. I'm Demido.
You're not taking crazy pills. We're doing different stuff.
We're doing different stuff. So this week's my week, and I have a topic for you guys. It's a little relevant. Sometimes we talk about stuff from way back when in the olden days. Sometimes we talk about stuff from our childhood. Sometimes we talk about stuff that maybe we saw a couple years ago. Rarely, I find, do we talk about things that literally just came out. I can think of maybe a couple of examples of times we did, but what I'm going to talk about today. It came out on December 23rd of 2021. So we're talking days ago. Like within the last 2 weeks, this thing hit shelves, hit the market. It is a Netflix original movie, which I think that an NCOM should totally be a thing, like a DCOM was.
Yeah. Oh, some of my favorite movies of all time are DCOMs.
Yeah, DCOMs. I guess this was. Oh my god, it's a Netflix original movie, so it's a nom.
Yeah.
Netflix original. Yeah, that'd work. A
It's a
nom.
nom.
I like that.
But this is a movie that a lot of people were hyped about. We're going to get into why, but we're going to be talking about the Netflix movie Don't Look Up today.
Can I look up?
Don't look up. That's your challenge. Don't look up for the entirety of. Don't look me in the eye when I talk. It makes me feel like I'm in danger, and I will panic and flee.
Alex fled. Damn it! I was going to use my master ball too. I'm sorry.
We need to get into the logic of Pokemons because I'm pretty sure that people are Pokemons and you totally catch them, and that brings up this whole thing of Pokemon where like people
Pokemon
can totally
Stockholm syndrome.
People can kidnap other people using master balls, and I hate that. Like, it's just as a concept, it's not good. Anyway, let's get into this. So, over the last decade, and especially the last couple of years, a thought has entered the minds of the general populace. And I think you guys will agree that at some point, this has entered your mind at least once. And it's how much longer can we, as a civilization, go on? I mean, we've been around for thousands and thousands of years, you know, starting with like Homo sapiens, and if that's what you believe in, or, you know, it's all like, it feels like we've been going on as a human race for so long, and human memory and history seems to encapsulate all time because it's all that we've ever known. And this isn't a concept, a new concept by any means. This idea of an Armageddon scenario has been tossed around since humans gained the ability of critical thinking. But as we continue to evolve as a species and technology advances lead us into a new way of thinking and a new way of life, what was once a hypothetical has gained a shocking and scary amount of supportive evidence. But with that technology and scientific study, we have also gained insight and a sort of pseudo precognition that comes with technology and its many implications on our lives. Mm-hmm. And from studying what has happened in the past, we're able to discern how things might happen in the future. We love to say on this show that history doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes. Mm-hmm. So if we know what happened in the past, then we kind of know what to avoid for the future.
But do we do it? Not always.
But for example, we were able to discover that a giant meteor crashed into the Earth and it led to the Ice Age and the extinction of dinosaurs and so on and so forth. It was a global event that happened because of this giant meteor that crashed. And with that in mind, we are constantly looking to the sky for oncoming threats. And we have several contingency plans if one were ever to truly threaten us, though a lot of scientists would argue that for those contingency plans to go into place, it would take a number of years. Like, if we had decided there's let's say a meteor coming, for example, it would take 2 to 3 years to build a rocket that would be big enough to get it off course of Earth. And if we don't discover it until, say, 6 months before it's going to hit us, what really can we do?
Yeah, orbital mechanics are a complex thing. I don't know if you guys know this, but I play a game called Kerbal Space Program, so I know
I was so scared that Nick was going to miss this episode, and I knew that he would have so much to say on it.
There's physics going on here, and I don't know them all. What I do know is that the earlier you catch an object moving towards Earth that's in Earth's gravity field or something, that's when it's easiest to push off of its course. Because if it's too close, think of it like a gravity well. You've seen those like with the funnel things at the mall where you put the penny in. Let's imagine an asteroid's way out there. Then it's easier to push away.
Yeah.
But if it gets too close, then it's like it's going to hit Earth. So
yeah. Like if the weight's 100, if the weight's 100, gravity is 1. 100 times 1 is 100. But if it's like 1,100 miles away or something, gravity is now like 0.01.
Yeah.
Now the weight's 1.
Guys, our genius is showing. Where? If we've learned anything over the past 2 years now, specifically, it isn't as simple to avoid calamity as we may think, or to avoid just a general threat to the human populace. The ever-growing world of politics and personal perspective makes it even more difficult and makes even the most obvious of solutions somehow negotiable. Question mark. Even if the benefits are right in front of people, everything is debatable, which is terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much.
I don't want to comment too much on it, but yeah.
So with all that in mind, that is the world that we explore in Adam McKay's new Netflix movie, Don't Look Up. So sit back, relax, breathe, and entertain this. Okay.
Oh shit!
Simon
I looked
says
up.
stop.
Damn it!
You looked up. Got him. Send him home.
Did you
Hit
look
the
it up?
lockers. So let's talk about Adam McKay, because do you guys know who Adam McKay is? Even if you don't, you
Zero.
probably do.
Yeah.
No idea?
Probably.
Okay, well, let me fill you in.
Was he on Mythbusters?
That's Adam.
No,
Savage.
that's a different Adam. So from the pop culture classic creator, he created such things as Talladega Nights, Step Brothers, The Big Short, even Anchorman, and its sequel, Anchorman 2. Adam McKay was the lead creative force behind all of those cult classics.
Yeah.
Adam
so, like,
McKay.
A lot of just like Will Ferrell.
Okay, well, let's talk about that for a second. So he and Will Ferrell were best of buds, and he literally casted Will Ferrell in everything. Until recently, him and Will Ferrell actually had a falling out.
How do you have a falling out with Will Ferrell?
He's Elf. How does that
Yeah.
even... I don't know.
I don't know if you know this or not, but Will Ferrell is a huge fan of basketball.
Okay.
I think specifically the Celtics.
Okay.
And I believe it was the Celtics, but that might be incorrect. But he was casted to play one of the great head coaches of the Celtics in an upcoming movie, in an upcoming biopic. And everybody who saw the casting was like, anyone who was fans of this team, they were like, Will Ferrell can't play this guy. He doesn't look anything like Will Ferrell. Literally, this doesn't make any sense for casting. So Adam McKay replaced Will Ferrell with none other than John C. Reilly.
Does it work? Does it work better?
And didn't tell Will Ferrell because he was waiting to let him know in person, and John C. Reilly let it slip before Adam McKay could get to Will Ferrell. So Will Ferrell heard it through the grapevine that he had lost this part that he really wanted to none other than John C. Reilly.
That sucks.
Yeah, that's like finding out that your girlfriend cheated on you with your brother.
So yeah, Will Ferrell does not make a cameo in this movie, but Adam McKay did bring us a star-studded 2.5-hour screw you to anyone who doesn't trust science. So I'm in on that. I'm all in, baby. Give me all of it. The cast list alone would rationalize this movie's $75 million budget, which is big, but isn't the hugest budget when it comes to a movie. 75 million is like a drop in the bucket compared to these like billion-dollar blockbuster movies. But let's just talk about who's in this movie, because we're talking Leonardo DiCaprio, we're talking Jennifer Lawrence, we're talking Kate Blanchett, we're talking Ariana Grande makes an appearance, we're talking Timothée Chalamet is up in this mother, we're talking Oscar award winner Meryl Streep is in this movie, and playing her son is Jonah Hill, who is up in this jive. We're talking Ron Perlman, that guy who looks like every orangutan you've ever seen. And Tyler Perry is up in this house. The list goes on. This is a star-studded cast. Like, we haven't seen a movie this star-studded since like Valentine's Day, where I'm pretty sure Taylor Swift gets like whisked away by Zac Efron, maybe. I don't know. I never saw it.
Yeah, I think there's another one in that same exact like.
It's
umbrella.
like Holiday. I think.
Yeah. It's like the holiday.
And then there's like
movies.
New Year's Day.
Yep, I saw New Year's in theaters with a girl a long time ago.
That was a bad first date, and I doubt you had a second.
Exactly.
A movie really can ruin a relationship if it's that bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this cast is huge. Now the big question is, does the script support the need for such a heavy cast? I mean, these people are, classically trained actors who have won between them a number of different awards. You know, they're very talented. They're hard to get a hold of. So what in this script did they read and go, yes, I want to do this? So the story has two main protagonists we followed through the span of about 4 months, or about 6 months that this movie takes place in. To be exact, it takes place over a span of 6 months and 14 days. Exactly. The reason I know that is because it's a very specific plot point that we're working with. The first of our two protagonists is a girl named Kate Debasky. I believe I am pronouncing that right. Sure. And she is an astronomy grad student who is played by Jennifer Lawrence, of Hunger Game fame.
Yeah, I can see that.
So one night, while looking in deep space, Kate discovers a movement that has previously gone undocumented. And this is huge because this is the discovery of a new comet of some kind. And the exciting thing is, if you are an astronomer and you discover a new comet, you get to name it. And everyone's like, all of her, fellow students are like patting her on the back and they're having drinks and they're partying because they just made a historical discovery with this comet. And she chooses to name it after herself. So she names it the Debasky Comet. Right?
I name it
rolls off the tongue.
Rolls off the tongue. That's right.
If I had a comet, I'd name it something really silly. I don't know what it would be, but it'd be funny.
Yeah, I would just have like a one of those voice interpolators that can like tell what words you're saying. I just like put peanut butter on the roof of my dog's mouth and just see what it comes up with.
All right, great name.
Yeah. I'd name a comet Duck.
Duck.
Yeah. Hey, look, it's Duck.
Duck.
You got it. There it is. We're funny. So, what's the next step if you're an astronomy student and you've discovered a brand new comet? You're going to contact your professor of astronomy, right?
Sure.
So the professor, our second protagonist, is Dr. Randall Mindy, who is played by Leonardo DiCaprio, a recent award recipient of an Oscar. That meme died a little bit ago because he finally got his Oscar for being eaten by a bear. We're very excited for him here on Entertain This for that reason. And, of course, he's stoked about the new discovery and, them getting to name it and cementing themselves in astronomy history. That's huge, Oh, yeah. In their excitement, Dr. Randall Mindy starts crunching numbers just to, track its orbital patterns and see how close it's going to get to Earth. When suddenly he discovers that the comet is going on a direct collision course with Earth. And they have about 6 months, to be exact, 16 months or 6 months and 14 days before this comet hits.
And assuming it's a pretty big comet, right?
It's a pretty big comet. We'll get into exactly how big.
Yeah.
So that begs the question that I want to ask you guys, because it's an interesting thought, an interesting thought scenario, is if you were the only person on Earth who knew that a mass extinction event was coming, what would you do? Don't know how you figured it out, but somehow you alone have gained the knowledge. Oh my God, the planet's ending. You know it to be 100% true. What's your next step?
I want to say that I'd find a way to help out, but knowing that I am who I am and I really don't have any skills that could help stop a comet, I guess you just panic. What else can you do?
Okay, so Nick's panicking for 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months?
He says nothing. He just has a mental break and is hospitalized. And
I do all the drugs I could. No.
Okay, so the world's ending. You start doing drugs. I'm into that.
It's like whatever. I'm gonna die. No, I mean if it was for sure gonna end in 6 months, then it's like, well, I guess I better make good with a whole bunch of people because they're gonna die with me, and I want to be, good with them when I go to the afterlife or whatever.
But are you gonna tell them, or are you gonna be like, hey, the world's ending?
I'd probably, but then they'd be like, come on.
Okay.
Come on, you're doing a fib. Right?
That in itself is an interesting movie. If one person knew the world was ending and no matter who they told, nobody believed them. And so they just
who would?
Exactly.
You got the proofs in the pudding. You got to look up in the telescope and be like, oh, there's the comet.
Don't look up.
All right, I believe you.
Don't look up.
I didn't look up yet.
Michael, what about you?
Yeah, I'd tell someone. Like if I knew absolutely for sure, I would tell someone. But then from there, it's like, all right, I guess now I'm gonna go see the world,
But
go
who do you
live my
tell?
life. I don't fucking
Blackjack
know.
and hookers. No.
Okay, well, the world's ending. Make a decision. Who do you tell, Michael?
I would call
Pressure.
Obama.
Who you telling? Who you call? You're calling who?
Ghostbusters. You asked for that
Did you
one.
say Obama? In all seriousness, you have Obama's phone number to just call him?
That'd be pretty neat.
I got a hookup. It's fine.
You have a hookup for the no longer president, Barack Obama, in hopes that he can stop the comment with, I don't know, lower taxes, maybe? That he doesn't have the power to do anymore? Or maybe he does.
Office of the president.
Nah. I don't know. I would probably. I don't even know who I would contact.
Isn't it
Like,
wild that, like, best case scenario for the three of us is to call 911
Yeah.
and be like, police, there's the comet coming, help, and just like pass the buck on to like actual uniformed authority instead. That's nuts. That's like
What
the
do you
best we can
even-
do.
What do you even do? Like 6 months and 14 days. You know the world's gonna end. Like what does anything you do matter at that point?
Well, you don't know for sure that the world's going to end. You just know a comet's coming and you have 6 months to figure it
I
out.
thought you just said a cataclysmic event's gonna happen in 6 months.
You know
Yeah.
Well, you know it's going to happen in 6 months if you do nothing.
Ooh.
That's
So,
the
yeah,
question.
If it's a comet,
I feel
then I
like-
can get NASA on my side, you know? Be like,
I don't
hey,
know. I feel like if we have 6 months to do something, I'm just gonna get in the way. Like
Yeah,
I'm not
probably.
smart enough.
But
I'm not
you're the
qualified.
only person who knows. So at the very least, you have to start that domino effect.
I just have to tell people.
I don't know. Yeah.
Who?
I-
Who do you
yeah,
tell?
NASA, they have I know they
How do you
have,
get in contact with NASA?
I've been to space camp.
email.
Okay, well, Michael has an in, so there we go. That's our 6 degrees of separation from NASA. Is we just need to. If I know a meteor's coming, I contact Michael. Michael contacts his space camp counselor. His space camp counselor contacts probably a janitor, and then the janitor contacts NASA.
No, honestly though, I just learned actually yesterday that one of my coworkers, his dad is one of the lead engineers at a division at NASA. So hey, that's my end. Fuck you.
Okay, sweet. So we have a way. If we ever find out that a comet's coming for whatever reason, no one else reports it. We go to Michael. Michael goes to his coworker. His coworker goes to his dad. His dad probably goes to a janitor, and then the janitor goes to NASA. And that's
Chief
what we know.
administrator.
There we go.
But let's talk about what they do. So the
Okay.
first step for Randall and Kate is to bring it to the attention of NASA.
NASA has plans for this.
NASA's Planetary Defense Coordination Office,
Yeah,
also
Space
known
Force.
as the PDCO. Kind of like Space Force, but different.
Yeah.
Not so much about fighting aliens, more about fighting asteroids. This isn't actually a joke that they wrote in to this. There is an actual real thing that I found on NASA's website that talks about the PDCO.
It's a big deal.
So this is what I found on the NASA website. It says near Earth objects, NEOs, are asteroids or comets that orbit the sun like the planets, but their orbit can bring them into Earth's neighborhood within 30 million miles of Earth's orbit. Planetary defense is applied planetary science to address the NEO impact hazard. NASA established the Planetary Defense Coordination Office, also known as the PDCO, to manage its ongoing mission of planetary defense. Take a moment.
That seems like a good
that sink in.
first person to go talk to.
Sure, that's a great first person to go talk to if you know how to talk to him. And we're going to go through your friend's dad. So the PDCO does the following. It provides early detection of potential hazardous objects, PHOs. A lot of abbreviations in this company.
It's
the
the government.
subs-
You expect anything different?
Good point.
Really?
The subset of NEOs whose orbits predict that they will come within 5 million miles of Earth's orbits and of a large enough size, we're talking 30 to 50 meters, to cause significant damage to Earth. That's what they care about.
So that's
They
pretty
also...
wide swath,
Yeah. So they also track and characterize PHOs and issue warnings about possible effects of potential impacts. So, they see an asteroid, they study it, and they're like, here's what's probably going to happen with this. So they're the ones who are going to be like, if we go to them, we're like, we know there's an asteroid coming. They're going to be the ones who are like, hey, this is going to kill us all. That's their job. They study strategies and technologies for mitigating PHO impacts. So they're the ones who are like, we got to build a fucking rocket. We're going to have to blow this thing to smithereens. And finally, they play a lead role in coordinating U.S. government planning for responses to an actual impact threat. So that's their whole jive is if the world's about to end because of an asteroid, the PDCO does not get to take a vacation. Like, they're going to fight tooth and nail till the end.
Yeah. And building a rocket isn't the only way of pushing an asteroid out of the way. There's also, I think, they were trying to build a laser that lased the asteroid, and then it created like a really hot jet of plasma that pushed the asteroid.
Oh, okay, cool. They weren't turning the asteroid into like a large oozing ball of plasma that's now coming for us, though, because that would be bad.
That'd be a lot of energy. So
that'd be bad. So truthfully, in my hours of Googling, I did panicked after watching this movie. I found very little that this team has actually had to do thus far, other than tracking.
That we know of.
We
all might kind of remember maybe a meteor that may have been in course to collide with Earth that was maybe in the news over the past couple years. Vaguely, I remember this being a thing. But I found no evidence of that actually existing online, so this might be a Mandela effect. A Mandela effect. Correct.
Yep.
Might not have actually happened. But a lot of news sources do report asteroids coming within like 300 million miles of Earth's orbit as though they're going to collide with Earth literally all the time. They're like, headline, NASA's currently tracking an asteroid that is coming close within Earth's orbit. And by close, we mean 300 million thousand miles. That happens literally all the time, but it means nothing.
Yeah. That's like 3 times the distance from the moon, I think.
There's threateningly no evidence that anything has ever been on its way to Earth currently. As Michael said, that we know of. Dun dun. You know? So, realistically, things hit Earth from space all the time. 500 meteorites hit Earth every year, but less than 10 of them are actually recovered due to some landing in the ocean, some landing in irrecoverable remote parts of the globe, and some just because we don't see where they fall and we don't care to go find them. Like, could be in somebody's backyard. We just don't care because they're not that big of a deal. Things hit Earth all the time, and it's not a big deal. All in all, this results to, this is a little scary, 15,000 tons of material landing on Earth each year. But, you know, it's literally the kind of drop in a bucket scenario where it's a drop and it's going to fill the bucket eventually, about 15 tons a year, which is a lot.
I like to see how much we're actually losing into space. You know,
but
how many tons are going up? How many tons are coming back?
We keep sending them up. We keep wasting it. Now these 500 meteorites do not compare at all, and I believe you asked this, Nick, to the movie's 9 kilometer, which is 5.6 mile across planet killer that is coming for Earth in Don't Look Up.
That's enough.
Huge. It is the size of Mount Everest in Don't Look Up. That is what they're facing. That is big.
But in the size of the space, realm that we're talking about, Earth is like way bigger than that. And yet, something only 5 miles across can smack into your planet and wipe out everything. So
that is correct.
Yeah.
That is scary and correct. So our 2 astronomers, they discuss with this specialized team, and that discussion lands them in the waiting room of the Oval Office, awaiting a meeting with the President of the United States, because that's, of course, the next step in your plan. After discussing, you need to go to the President and be like, all right, here's what we know. What are we going to do? But after several hours of waiting, our 2 astronomers are told, sorry, guys, doesn't look like it's happening today. Because the president's just too busy, and they, get sent to hotels by the chief of staff, who is also the president's son, who is named Jason, who is also Jonah Hill.
I saw like one picture of Jonah Hill from this movie, and please tell me if this is a correct observation of him. He looks like one of the biggest jackasses I've ever seen. Just looks like
yes, that is correct. He is
Okay.
a huge jackass. I should stop now and just say, hey, spoilers for Don't Look Up. If you didn't think that was coming, I've already spoiled the first, I think, 15 minutes of the movie for you. So my bad. But if you don't want to know anymore, stop listening now, and then maybe come back when you're done watching it. Whatever.
That's like saying the snippet of a book on the back cover is a spoiler.
That's true. I haven't spoiled anything yet, but we're about to get into it. So they're sent back to their hotels to see if maybe the president will make time for them tomorrow. That's their hope. This is where the movie begins to take a very strange tonal shift, because up until this point, everything has been go, 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 like rush through, rush through, rush through. But our protagonists, when they're like being put on a plane and talking to people quickly, that does not compare to this moment when they're sitting in a hotel room and they realize that the president seemingly doesn't prioritize this threat. Everything just comes to like a screeching halt, and all the momentum of this movie is lost.
Dope.
So now we are all familiar with facing a sort of fear that we're overreacting to something. Gaslighting is a word that has risen in popularity recently. More people are realizing that they may have fallen victim to it. The next day, as the two finally sit down with President Janie Orlean, played by Meryl Streep, we're hit with a full force of gaslighting from the President of the United States.
The gaslighter in chief.
They are met with complete apathy from both her and her chief of staff, Jason. And this is a quote from Time magazine that I picked up about this movie. And it quotes it quotes Meryl Streep, but it starts with, "I hear there's a comet or an asteroid that you don't like the look of," says Orlean, who is preoccupied with the upcoming midterms and her most recent Supreme Court nominee, who turns out to have been a former softcore porn star.
I can see the inspiration.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say too much, but
she asks our two protagonists, what's the ask here? So like, what do you want from me? Like, why are you here? What are you trying to get out of me to make this go away, basically? And Jason, her son, responds in moan, "I'm so bored." And this is as Dr. Mindy is trying to explain the science of this asteroid that's coming to kill us all. So they're basically blown off. Rebuffed by the White House, the astronomers take their case to a morning cable show called The Daily Rip, which is hosted by Tyler Perry and I need to remember the actress's name. Hold on, I'm having a brain blast.
What does she look like?
Hold on, it's Kate Blanchett. I looked back at my notes. I cheated. They go on this show called The Daily Rip to basically be like, hey, they didn't listen to us. Now we're going to tell the world. We're going to leak this information. But they can't get their message heard through the host's incessant happy talk, trying to spin everything they're saying into a good thing or into an interesting piece. This becomes a personal interest piece instead of a critical news delivery. So the public responds in equal parts denial, conspiracy mongering, and instant meme making as they declare Jennifer Lawrence's character crazy after she basically tells the whole world that they are doomed and going to die. She becomes a meme. What? Like, what a perfect...
Why does this feel too realistic?
Yeah, isn't it funny how this isn't funny?
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy how this isn't crazy?
Yeah.
So after telling the whole world that they are doomed and they're going to die, they make her a meme and call her crazy. And they say that Dr. Mindy is an, how do I pronounce this? Iof, I guess is what it is. An AILF, an astronomer I'd like to fuck, because it's Leonardo DiCaprio. The world now knows him as that hot scientist from TV.
Yeah, I don't think that's a category on the hook.
They even forgot the who told me I'm going to die part.
Yes, they just thought he was cute, and that's what they're talking about.
All right.
So when Orlean becomes involved in a sex scandal, she finally decides to announce the threat of the comet and to divert attention from her sex scandal. Crazy. So the news finally begins to spread of the nudes begin to
nudes spread.
They do, and the news finally begins to spread that the comet is coming by the media, and she launches this plan to basically launch a spaceship captained by a war hero, because even though they could have done it remote, Orlean says there has to be a hero that everyone can look to and be like, thank you for your sacrifice for dying when crashing into this asteroid. That's what's good for the poles.
So dumb.
And she plans to collide it with the asteroid to change its direction and save the planet. However, even though that is a perfectly good answer and response, she cancels the plan mid-flight when a tech billionaire and prominent funder of Orleans discovers that the comet is composed of $1 trillion worth of precious minerals.
What?
A tech millionaire steps in and says, I can make money off of this. Don't destroy it.
Oh
no,
this is too real.
What's this remind you guys of? Let's talk about it.
Oh boy, what's the name of his company called? Fucking
SpaceX.
Yeah,
SpaceX. Yeah.
Is it called Space? Except it's with the money sign.
You guys have to understand. There is this general idea in science that there is no such thing as a rare or a what's the word? What's the word that we use for like coal? Something that's not it's not replaceable.
Non-renewable.
There's no such thing as a non-renewable material,
right?
Because we are so small and the vastness of space is so large that basically there's just untapped potential out there. Yeah. And this tech mogul who goes by the name Bash and his Bash Industries sees that this is full of these rare earth elements, rare different minerals and metals, and says, hey, what if instead we just drilled the asteroid up into little pieces and then collected them, brought them to Earth, and then we all became rich.
We all, meaning me and my 5 investors behind me.
And also the president, and also the chief of staff, and anyone else who says this is a bad idea. What if we just make them rich?
It's not a terrible idea.
Can I remind you that this asteroid is the size of Mount Everest?
Yes, but if you drill it up into tiny little pieces, assuming you have enough time to do so.
You don't. At this point, you have 3 months.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
And by the time those things are built, you're going to have a month.
Okay, well.
Actually, I think by the time those things are built, in the movie, they had 2 weeks.
And nobody's done anything yet.
Correct.
I don't like this movie. Take me off this wild ride. I don't like it.
Silver Star, you tried.
So shockingly, believe it or not, this fact of these asteroids being comprised of rare earth materials or rare metals actually holds up to scrutiny as well, just like the NASA thing. Actually, most of this movie is very scientifically accurate, which is scary. Like along with trajectory and all of those things that they're tracking, like it all holds up. But most meteorites upon inspection are made out of precious steels and metals, and they're very valuable things.
If I remember right from back in my space classes in college, like a lot of precious metals that we have on Earth are not actually like native to Earth. It's from asteroids and comets colliding with Earth millions and billions of years ago. And now we're just happening to uncover them.
Correct.
That's where you get your gold, not your iron, but everything beyond iron usually comes from asteroids and stuff like that.
Scary. So the White House plans to commercially exploit the comet by crushing it and reducing its size and recovering the fragments.
Hulk smash.
Yeah. So Kate and the guy from NASA basically at this point abandoned the operation in protest. They're like, we're not sitting here. We're not helping you anymore. We're just going to go live our lives.
Outside of like nefarious means, have they gotten people like actually to buy into their cause yet at all?
Nope.
Wonderful. Great.
Actually, the president has done pretty much everything in her power to tell people, hey, this meteor or this comet that's coming, it's going to be great. We're going to bring down all these materials from space. We're going to have the job market improve because we're going to need workers to come and we're going to have them mine up the rare materials from these things. The economy is going to boom because of all this influx of money that we're going to have from the comets. She's like selling this comet like it is the God-sent savior of America, and everyone is buying into it.
Yeah, and of course, it's American property.
To the point where after Kate abandons this like project to try and save Earth, she goes home to her parents, and her parents say, we don't want any political talk of the asteroid here, because she's gone famous for saying the asteroid's going to kill them all. She says, no political talk. We're for the jobs that the asteroid brings.
Oh no.
We're for the jobs that the comet provides.
Jobs.
Oh no.
They say, don't come in this house if you want to talk about the comet. We're for the jobs that the comets provide.
I've been here. No.
It hurts.
It hurts so bad.
It could be a good thing, you guys. I'm just saying.
Oh, God. At the same time, Randall submissively becomes a prominent voice in advocating for the comics' commercial opportunities. It goes so far as to go on Sesame Street with Elmo and say, the comet's great. We love the comet. Here are the reasons why we love the comet.
Oh, my God.
At the same time, he starts an affair with Kate Blanchett from The Rip, and begins cheating on his wife, and just buys completely into the celebrity lifestyle at this point. And the world becomes ideologically divided between those who demand the total destruction of the comet and those who decry unjustified alarmism. Isn't this wild, guys? Isn't this a wild ride that stopped being funny a little bit ago?
I can't believe in this universe that's unrealistic that somebody would put money over the well-being of the world. Wow.
So there are
incredible.
There are actually three different sides in this movie. There are people who want the comet destroyed. That's one. There are people who think the comet's not a big deal. That's two. And then there's the third kind of person. Can you guess, just from life, who that third person is?
People want to mine it.
No, that's the second type.
Oh, sorry. They're just kind of in the middle. They don't really care either way. Is that wrong?
Michael?
Submit your guesses.
Okay, can you say the first two again?
Okay, the first one.
I was too busy like wallowing in the despair of the universe.
The first one are people who believe that this comet needs to be destroyed.
Right.
The second one are people who believe this comet is a good thing and it's not as bad as people are making it out to be. And then the third kind of person.
Oh boy, which direction do I go?
The comet deniers.
Yes.
Yep.
The people who believe the comet doesn't even exist.
Yep.
It is made up. Can you see it? I can't see it.
Hence the title of the movie, Don't Look Up.
Ah.
Just don't.
Because
oh boy,
if you look up, you'll see it.
It's that big, huh?
God, it's like the fucking video of the flat earthers who like set up like a scientific experiment to prove that the earth is flat,
and they're like, oh man,
doing so they're like, oh shoot, this isn't right. My experiment's wrong because
I've never seen the follow-up or like the next couple minutes of that video because it always cuts right after they're like, oh, well, that doesn't make any sense. That's always where the like clip cuts. I want to see what they do next. If they're like, well, clearly we did this wrong. Or if they're like, okay, maybe we are wrong about this.
If I remember right, they think that they did it wrong. And so they redo it with the same exact results. And they're just like, fuck.
What about the ice wall, though?
Nazi Antarctica. It's there.
Okay. The Earth is a sphere.
So
if you want more action similar to Don't Look Up, please go watch like the
if you want more action similar to Don't Look Up, please go to your local flea market and listen to any vendor talk for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah, or just go on Twitter or Facebook.
Or that.
Works too.
It's out there.
So Kate returns home to Michigan and begins a relationship with a boy named Yule, played by Timothée Chalamet. We all love him.
Scream.
Yeah. And after June, and that's the wife of Leonardo DiCaprio. After she discovers his infidelity, Randall becomes angered and voices his frustration again on The Rip, the live television show, when he's supposed to be on there calming people down and telling them that the comet's not a big deal. He instead has a burst just like Kate did, where he's like, no, it's coming and we're all going to die. Being basically sick and having his hero journeys complete, I guess, if a hero's journey includes infidelity, which we wish it doesn't, and we hope it doesn't. But he basically goes into a rant criticizing Orleans' administration for downplaying the impending apocalypse and questioning humanity's indifference before leaving the operation and reconciling with Kate. Oh, we love it when our two main protagonists are back together again. Meanwhile, Orleans and the other people on board of trying to, mine this for money, most importantly, Bash and his company, they plan to recover the comet's materials. It fails. That plan just completely fails. The mining rigs that they had sent up start exploding. They collide with the comet. They collide with each other. Some of them don't make it off the ground, and eventually they have to come to terms with the fact that their plan is not gonna work. And it leaves them and a group of wealthy Americans to flee to a spaceship designed to find the nearest Earth-like planet. And that's what they do. They get in a spaceship and they fly off in hopes to find an Earth that isn't completely destroyed.
That's unfair.
It is unfair. However, they do accidentally leave behind Jason, the son of President Orlean, in the process. And before leaving, Orlean offers Randall a place on the ship, but he turns it down, choosing to spend his last moments in the company of Kate, his family, Yule, and the scientist Teddy from the orbit, the comet orbit defense team, who had helped them on their journey to begin with. The comet finally hits the planet, killing everyone. And the last words that are spoken are by Leonardo DiCaprio, where he looks to his family sitting at this dinner as they all basically pretend the comet's not coming, trying to have one last nice dinner. And he says, "We really did have it all, didn't we?" As it just hits. And in slow motion, like, you see the effects of it start to take, and like the windows explode out of the house and they're like flying backwards and they're all like engulfed in flame and smoke. And that's it. That's the movie.
I don't like it. I don't like it. Ooh, I don't like it.
So they're
probably, geez, that's probably the closest thing you can have to a nuclear bomb going off is an asteroid hitting the planet.
I hate that this movie is made by the same guy who gave us fucking Talladega Nights and the other guys. And
yeah,
God,
say. Wow.
Damn.
So well, this movie did take a hint from Marvel, and they did have a mid-credit and an after-credit scene that we're going to talk about. In the mid-credit scene, it's
Can
set.
You have a scene after the Earth is gone.
It's set 22,000 years later, and the presidential ship lands on a lush alien planet.
Oh, good for them.
The passengers wake up from cryogenic sleep. And they take a look at the surrounding environments only to be immediately attacked and killed by the planet's wild animals.
That's what happened.
So that's a big old fuck you to, the people who think they can escape this by going to another planet. Tesla.
Those guys are innocent, though. Those are like the great grandchildren of those rich people that left Earth 22,000 years ago. So I don't know if you want to sins of your father type them, but you get what you pay for ultimately.
And at some point in the movie, Jason, who was leading a group of people who were all brandishing hats that said, "Don't look up," trying to convince people that this comet doesn't exist in the last moments of trying to save his mother's political career. We find out in the end credit scene that he actually gets left on the planet and is the last man alive on Earth. He survives the crash and is now stuck. And in the aftermath, he is documenting on his phone to his now non-existent followers. He says, "Yo, it's me, Jason, last man on Earth. We out here." And that's the last line in the show. Surrounded by debris and fire. That's what he has to say.
I mean, you could conceivably survive that, I guess, if you were in a nuclear bunker or something. I don't know.
That's just like extremely heavy, like, "Yo, what up, demons? It's me, your boy.
Skinny
Yeah.
Penis."
Exactly.
He'd just
So I
lose
wanna-
it after a couple of days, wouldn't you? There's nobody around to talk to. You just like, guess I'll go crazy.
I was thinking about this today, and like, there's no water. It's
Nope.
gone. There's no food unless you can like scavenge for things that are buried under rubble. He's dead in 2 weeks
Charcoal.
tops.
Oh yeah.
In the worst way. But let's get past all of that and let's talk about what this movie means. Why was it made? What is it about? What do you guys think?
Could be a couple of things.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh,
Well, let's talk about it.
First thing that came to my mind was like climate change. Maybe it's not as cataclysmic as an asteroid hitting the planet, but it is still pretty bad.
I mean, in comparison, kind of is just
It's
more
up
of a
there.
slow burn.
There is a quote
burn.
that that I took note of that said, "A comet is a gunshot, and global warming is a slow poisoning."
Mm-hmm.
They both
Yeah.
lead to the same tragic end.
I guess you're right. It could either be climate change, or it could be like I don't know, the ongoing pandemic that's happening. Because there's people that are just denying
When I
it.
first watched it, I thought it was about the pandemic, but then Chloe
It may be
so correctly and smartly said it was about climate change. And once I realized, oh shit, you're right, because climate change literally followed the exact same things that the ongoing pandemic did, I was like, it is maybe even both. Maybe it's just the flaw of humanity when we're faced with our own death.
Really, yeah. I think
Like-
that's really the core of it. I think like it's just like what is humanity gonna do when it's faced with like inevitable death?
Exactly. But I'm going to just go ahead and go on a little tangent in the mindset that this is about global warming. Because that's what I think.
I back you up with that.
It's the most apt comparison.
Yeah.
So we have a platform, and we are currently set up perfectly for me to just spout some information. So that's what I'm going to do to get it out there. But since the Industrial Revolution, the global annual temperature has increased in total by a little more than 1 degree Celsius or 2 degrees Fahrenheit each and every couple years.
Yeah.
Between 1880, the year that accurate record keeping began, basically, and 1890, it rose on average by 0.7 degrees Celsius or 0.13 degrees Fahrenheit every 10 years. And it didn't stop. But since 1981, the rate's increase has been more than doubled. So now it's getting hotter faster. And for the last 40 years, we've seen the global annual temperature rise by 0.18 degrees Celsius or 0.32 degrees Fahrenheit per decade, which means it's speeding up more and more. The temperature is rapidly increasing. So the result, the planet has never been hotter. 9 of the 10 warmest years since 1880 occurred since 2005, and the 5 warmest years on record have all occurred since 2015. Setting records that we don't like to set. Climate change deniers have argued that there has been a pause or a slowdown in the rise of global temperatures, but numerous studies, including a 2018 paper published in the journal Environmental Research Letters, have disproven this claim. So don't believe that it's ending, because we still have a lot of work to do.
Mm-hmm.
The impacts of global warming are already harming people around the world. Now, climate scientists have concluded that we must limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius by 2040 if we are to avoid a future in which everyday life around the world is marked by its worst and most devastating effects. And we're talking extreme drought, wildfires, floods, tropical storms, and other disasters that we refer to collectively as climate change. It's huge. It's going to come if we don't do something about it, and we got to start, These effects are felt by all people in one way or another, and are experienced most acutely by the underprivileged, the economically marginalized, and people of color, for whom climate change is often a key driver of poverty, displacement, hunger, and social unrest. So, like I said, while a comet is a gunshot, global warming is a slow poisoning, but they both are going to lead to the same tragic end. So the question is, what can we do? And there's actually a number of things that we can do. First and foremost, just talking about it like we're doing right now, just spreading the word of it, and making sure that everybody is aware that it's, something that's happening is such an important step. Some other things that we can do, there's, like power your home with renewable energy is one. Solar panels are becoming a lot bigger as time progresses, and a lot more people are using solar panels on their houses. You can weatherize, you can build heating and cooling because that are just like better and are more natural, that will cool and heat your house in ways that don't use as much energy as we use, because that's one of the biggest uses of energy. You can invest in energy efficient appliances. What'd you say?
Insulate your house too, because you can have a great heating and cooling system, but if it all goes out the window, it's all for nothing.
Yep, that's important. You can invest in energy efficient appliances, just ones that, don't burn as much power. Reduce your water waste. Don't take, hour-long showers every single day of the week. I get if you have to take it every once in a while. We've all been there. But try not to use too much water. Actually eat the food. Actually eat the food that you buy, because the more you eat, the less waste there is that we have to work through. Don't waste. Like your mom taught you that. If you're going to open it, eat it. That was a rule in my house. Don't waste food. It's simple as that. Buy better bulbs, LEDs. They're going to save you money over the long run, and they're going to save the world over the long run. You can unplug devices when they're not being used, because those, even if it is a small amount of power, still drain power and thus waste these materials that are burning and causing global warming. You can drive fuel efficient vehicles. Tesla, they're bad, but also their cars are energy efficient and they look cool. And there are way better options for green driving and for smart driving, better than Tesla. I mean, green electric cars are not a new thing. Don't let Tesla trick you into thinking that they are. There are a lot of options out there if you want to go green with your, transportation. You can maintain your car. Did you know that helps with global warming? Because it does. Because if all Americans kept their tires properly inflated, we could save 1.2 billion gallons of gas each year. Fun fact.
Check your tires.
Check your tires. You can choose to live a kind of walkable, smart growth city instead of like out in rural countries, because if everything's right there for you, you're not burning energy trying to, travel to things and make your life easier that way. And then finally, just, shrink your carbon profile. You can offset the carbon you produce by purchasing carbon offsets, which represent clean power that you can add to the nation's energy grid and place a power in place of power of fossil fuels. But not all carbon offset companies are alike, so make sure that you do your homework and you find the best supplier. it's not hope. What I'm saying is it's not hopeless. There are things we can do to still save the planet. We don't have to live in a world where we deny it happens or say it's not happening or say it's not as big of a deal as we're making it, because we're talking about our future. And even if we're not going to be around to do it, we shouldn't push the buck onto somebody else. Especially we shouldn't push it to the point where it's too late. So now it's time to, wake up, fix our planet, and last but not least, entertain this.
Ooh, nice.
Plant a couple trees if you can.
Yeah.
Plant a couple trees.
Hug a tree,
All right,
save that water.
that's it. That's all I have. That's all I had, guys. So now we're gonna
boycott one of the 90 companies that contribute 2/3 of all carbon emissions. Do that.
Yeah. What do you guys think about all this?
Oh boy, I love thinking about the eventual heat death of the universe.
Oh, that's later. That's much later.
As Bill Nye once said, the world is on fucking fire.
It's on fire, but it's like the frog in the boiling water. Like we're not gonna notice that it's hotter outside.
I mean,
but we should definitely do something about it.
It's more like we're moving at 10 times the speed that a normal frog in a boiling pot of water situation would call for.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But I mean, we can do all we can. But really, what we need to do is focus on spending our money where it counts against maybe companies that aren't doing their fair share of CO2 offsets or what have you.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, vote with your wallets. That's what I've always said.
Well, and I mean, really, it all comes down to, for so many things that we like typically don't think of, is like the normal person has more power than they think. It's when the normal person comes together as a group to combat the people in the story from Don't Look Up, who just only want to take advantage of a situation for their own selfishness. And really, that's what we got to do. Stay informed. Don't do drugs. Only if they're cool, I guess.
Doesn't have to do with global warming, but good advice.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just falling back into like when I took DARE in 5th grade.
Hey, Michael, I hope you're ready to talk some more, because now we're throwing it over to you for our quick this week.
Woo! All right. Hey, guys. What's up?
Officer Michael's here to talk to us about the dangers of drugs.
D, I don't do drugs. It won't have an attitude. All right, will respect myself. E, I will educate me.
Jeez.
Been a while, huh?
Yeah. Now it's like, well, I probably won't try meth.
D, I won't do meth. A, I will adjust the drugs I do.
Yeah, they need to just change up the program. Only do the cool drugs, kids.
R, I'll only smoke reefer. E, I will educate people on how good it is.
E is for ethanol.
Fun in your cars, not in your mouth.
What are we doing?
All right. Yeah, someone get a timer. I need someone to babysit me.
Hey.
All right. You ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
You tell me when to go.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right, cool. So yesterday, I had the pleasure of getting to speak about a series called Arcane, which takes place in the world wide web of League of Legends. And that really got my brain kicking down the road. And I thought and mentioned in the last episode a game very similar to League of Legends that I feel like has not gotten enough attention for what it is. And it is a game called Smite. Smite is a MOBA, which this is the term we were looking for, Nick, last week. MOBA.
Yeah, what is
multiplayer online battle arena is what it stands for.
Oh,
yeah.
Makes so much more sense.
So take a lot of the descriptions from what I had for League of Legends last week and put that in a little bit of a different perspective. So we got Smite. Smite is a game by Hi-Rez Studios. It is, instead of you having champions or heroes or these like original characters that you put into the setting, what the team at Smite did instead is they borrowed their characters from classical mythologies in different pantheons from across the world. And those are the characters that you play as throughout this entire game. You still follow the same sort of general roles. You've got like top lane, bottom lane, middle lane, jungler, and like all that fun jazz that most people who listen to this probably don't know. Basically, you got characters who do different stuff, and they've got different jobs. All that same sort of stuff is happening in Smite. The biggest difference is that in League of Legends, where you've got the same sort of perspective that's like top down, like you're playing Age of Empires or StarCraft or something like that. In Smite, every character is played from a third person. So you have the same like sort of, you get like a very different camera over the back of the head sort of perspective on things.
I like that.
And that makes a huge difference in the gameplay, because instead of like a game like League of Legends, where a lot of the times it can feel like cookie clicker or like,
I loved Cookie Clicker. Can I just say,
so good.
It's way too addictive. I got it.
It really is.
Such a simple concept.
But so instead of gameplay closer to that, every single auto attack, like anytime that you're trying to even attack a minion, you have to aim it manually. It requires so much more like mental cognition and like decision making at just doing the most basic things, where even like you can't just be good at clicking and decision making. You have to be good at both of those things, as well as the typical mechanics that you'd have in a regular multiplayer game. And it takes that simple change in the formula does so much to make the game so much more interesting, in my opinion. You take that along with, for someone like me or like Nick or Alex, where we're big like history buffs and people who like love thinking about like old pantheons. Like we've talked about like King Arthur and like Arthurian legend. You can play as King Arthur or Merlin as a hero in this. They've kind of like changed a little bit, so it's not just like pantheons, it's like also
last week I talked about Heracles and his minions, his little strong
his
baby
little
toddlers.
Buff toddlers,
buff toddler minions. That
you can be Hercules.
Put that in Smite. I want to see him with the buff toddler minions.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, he's already in there.
What?
Yeah,
Sorry.
Him, his Papa Zeus. You got people all the way from like the greatest thing about it is there's so many different past cultures and religions that you get exposed to through this game. Like I didn't know anything about like Aztec or Mayan gods, but you get to play as certain figures in that. And one of the coolest things about it is if you actually do know some of these characters, every single one of their abilities is derived from their mythos. So you have like Zeus, who all of his shit is around throwing lightning bolts and creating chain lightning.
That's awesome.
You've got Poseidon, who can summon a giant fuck all kraken to just blow up the entire map. And going into there, it's like you got really obscure characters or gods like Janus. He is he's basically like a Greek god of like portals or doorways. And so one thing that he can do is he can open up doorways in the obstacles of the map, and he can travel through them. And
what
so
about all those old gods of like back in the day before like we had medicine that could cure people, and they had like a god of syphilis?
I think technically there is like gods from that time. There's gods from like Babylon. It's like you can be
sounds like some Roman stuff. You
like
said Tiamat.
Yeah, back in the day, they were like, "Hey, you have syphilis. We don't know how to cure that. It's probably because you didn't praise the syphilis god enough, so they're punishing you." And that's like an actual thing they used to think.
Yeah, like
Saturn.
have you ever heard about the story of Gilgamesh from
I have.
ancient Babylon? You could be Gilgamesh.
It's the oldest known story.
Yeah. But anyways, Smite's cool. It's dope as hell. It takes what a lot of people would consider some of the most popular games on Earth, flips it on its head, but just by making some of the most simple changes, and makes the entire genre feel so much more fresh and interesting. Check it out, y'all. It's great.
We should do an episode on Gilgamesh, considering we're trying to encapsulate all things entertainment, and it was the first entertainment ever documented.
One of the earliest, yes.
Yeah.
That feels like a Nick episode. So, Nick, that's on you. You got to figure that out.
Thanks for this.
Thanks,
a
assholes.
20-page book report on the
Gilgamesh.
of Gilgamesh.
Or as his friends called him, Gilgi.
See, you're his friend. You can figure it out.
know.
I'm not that
Hey,
old.
sorry if we sent you into existential dread with this episode, but I hope that we filled you with hope with some fun facts afterwards. And remember, if we all die, there's always the gods to save us, like Gilgamesh or Thor or
King.
Heracles and his buff toddler minions. That's something that we can all
right.
hold out hope for. But in the
HP
meantime, if there's anything that we haven't covered on this show, or if you just want to reach out and say hello, you can email us at our email. It is entertainthispodcast@gmail.com, or you can go to our website, www.entertainthis.net. Scroll all the way to the bottom. There's a little questionnaire that you can fill out. Go straight to our inbox. Super simple way of getting in contact with us. There are also a couple social medias that you can follow if you just want to see updates about the show. First of all, we have our Twitter. We are entertain_this. And on Instagram, we are entertain this podcast. You can find our Facebook page. We are podcast entertain this. Throw us a like on all those. And hey, we'll throw you a like on something too, probably. Until next time, entertain us so we can entertain you. And you can entertain this. We'll see you guys next Friday. Bye.
Goodbye. Adios.
This episode of Entertain This was written by Alex Steele, with additional commentary from Nick Mustakangas and Michael Savoya. Our showrunner and resident fact-checker is Chloe Price. Our theme music is Rush Vocal by Aaron Spencer, interstitial music by DJW. Tune in every Friday for new episodes, and thanks for listening.